Mr. Holmes, whatever brings you here so late at night?
I'm interested in the case of young Leighton Chapman. He was arrested earlier this evening and accused of a double murder.
I beg your pardon? That case is quite clear to the police. Or are there any new facts that we don't know about?
Who knows, Inspector?
Look, you are free to investigate, of course, Mr. Holmes. Chapman was arrested with a revolver in his possession, which you can find in the evidence room. The suspect himself is in custody.
Did you find anything else on his person?
A few personal belongings. Nothing particular, Mr. Holmes.
Thank you, Lestrade.
Mr. Holmes, what is the trouble with that lad? Isn't he guilty of murder?
So this is the gun that Leighton was holding when he was caught by the police. It is a Webley revolver, a reliable weapon. It seems as though the shells were not removed from the cylinder. Two out of the 6 shells have been fired. There were 2 shots. A cheap watch, bought with his own money, no doubt. These cigarettes are filled with cheap tobacco. Nothing interesting. Please escort this suspect for interrogation. Good evening, Mr. Chapman.
Who are you? I've got nothing to say. It's all a mistake.
Calm down, Leighton. I have come here to help you. To find out if you truly are innocent, as your younger brother Wiggins has told me.
My brother? You know him? Then that means you're...
Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, blimey. All right, Mr. Holmes. I'll tell you everything.
Good. Tell me your account of what happened.
I left my work and I hurried up to see the fireworks in Whitechapel. I was late, so I decided to cut through Half Moon Street. I saw the first fireworks light up in the sky. I bumped into a constable on a corner before entering Half Moon. Then suddenly, what with all the firework flare, I saw two men. They were both lying flat in the middle of the street. I stopped where I was. I thought about turning back to the police, but as I was thinking of that, I saw a third person. He was leaning over the body that was furthest from me. The second I saw him, he raised his head and he stared at me. In a flash, I saw his gun, but he made a dash for it instead and he escaped through Whitechapel Street.
So you might still have had time to return to the constable.
I panicked. I didn't know what to do. Anyway, I approached the bodies just to see if they were still alive. I saw that one had blood pumping out of his stomach. He was dying. It was horrible. The second one was already dead. He had a hole in his head. He was holding a gun in his hand, though. I took it, and then I followed the third man.
Interesting. Pray, continue.
I turned a corner, and I saw the man standing in the middle of the street. He seemed to be in some sort of panic. And then, Mr. Holmes, something strange happened. I told the police and they laughed at what I said, but I swear to you, my words are true. I started running towards him. But then I was blinded by a flash. It was so bright that I hardly saw anything for a good dozen seconds. But I kept running forward. As I arrived in Whitechapel, I heard a woman screaming. And then I was caught by the police. But there wasn't a trace of that man. Of course, then they found a gun and all that blood. I couldn't see the murderer escaping and all that mess. Perhaps I was still half-blinded at that moment.
A thrilling account, my young man. Leighton, are you able to describe the person whom you saw standing in Half Moon Street?
Well, I wasn't able to see his face at all. It was too dark, and he was too far away. I could see his silhouette.
And what about that?
Nothing so special. He was wearing a jacket. He was quite average in size and his weight.
I see. Was there anything else that struck you at the time?
No. But perhaps... It's strange, but I can't remember the sound of his footsteps as he was running away. Perhaps it was because of the fireworks or the surprise of me seeing him.
Leighton, I confess I am puzzled. Why should a young lad like you take a gun from the hands of a dead man and set off in pursuit of a probable killer?
I know. I keep wondering that, but at the time it was like a reflex. A criminal ought to be arrested, and he was armed.
You were willing to risk your life. That was a little foolish, unless you wanted revenge.
No, Mr. Holmes. I was just being brave and stupid.
I'm sure that you were, but I believe that you may have recognized one of the victims, Brian Vercotti. You knew that gentleman well, did you not?
However could you know that?
You have a typical tattoo of the Westgate Brotherhood upon your hand. I observed exactly the same mark upon Mr. Vercotti. You came to know him from your sharing a past prison sentence. Am I correct, Mr. Chapman?
Oh, God. You're right, Mr. Holmes.
Would you tell me a little about Brian Vercotti?
We were convicted for a robbery. Once in prison, both of us joined one of these fraternities. During that year, we tried to help each other out, you know?
You were quite young then, I believe.
Yes, Mr. Holmes, we were. We'd only stolen a pound of meat. After we were released, and when I saw what my little brother had become, I decided to work towards living an honest life.
And Vercotti?
He had a hard time. His sister had died in a Whitechapel dispensary while he was in prison. He had no family anymore. Our paths split. He fell back into crime.
So you lost him?
Yes. And for around 2 years, I heard no news of him at all.
We shall see you soon, young man.
Mr. Holmes, what is the trouble?
What's up with you, lad? What are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for my brother to be released.
Your brother?
The one that you caught, beat up and imprisoned.
Ah, the murderer.
He ain't killed no one, copper.
Watch your mouth, lad, else you'll be joining that worthless brother of yours. It would be my pleasure to assist you with your investigation, Mr. Holmes.
My archive. I can always consult with it if needed.
Why are you looking at me all the time like that?
I'm just watching you, lad. I never know what to expect from people like you.
People like me?
Yes, street beggars and thieves.
I ain't a thief.
Oh, no? Then where did you get whatever it is that you're gnawing on? I very much doubt that you bought it.
What ain't seen can't hardly be stolen.
It would be my pleasure to assist you with your investigation, Mr. Holmes. Wiggins, my lad, what are you doing here? You'd best be leaving and be quick about it.
I've done nothing wrong. You'd learn more by watching Mr. Holmes. He knows exactly what he's doing. Not like you.
Oi, watch your tongue. It would be my pleasure to assist you with your investigation, Mr. Holmes.
I'll do anything to save my brother, Mr. Holmes.
Look here, lad. You'd better go home and start thinking about what a fine pickle your brother's landed himself in.
Ha! But he'll be free tonight, 'cause he's innocent.
Don't be daft, lad. It's a closed case. It would be my pleasure to assist you with your investigation, Mr. Holmes.
A fairly long pole with a forked end. I am unable to see any higher. I need to find something to lift my lamp. This should be useful. This is most definitely a bullet hole. The brick cracks are fresh. Watson, there was a third shot fired in this street.
It would be my pleasure to assist you with your investigation, Mr. Holmes.
Constable Marrow, I would value your assistance in this investigation.
It would be my pleasure, Mr. Holmes.
I would like to make sure that there are no places in Half Moon Street where a man could hide while you were running through it with your lamp.
All right, Mr. Holmes, what should I do?
Take your lamp and start walking, just as you did before, and try to find me.
Understood. I can see you very well, Mr. Holmes.
All right, Constable. Let's try again. I'll find another place to hide.
Here you are, Mr. Holmes.
All right, Constable. Let's try again. I'll find another place to hide.
Mr. Holmes, it wasn't difficult to find you at all.
It is obvious now. No one could escape Constable Marrow's lamp while hiding in the street. These tools are exactly what I need to climb the wall. This is exactly what we need in order to imitate the flash of the fireworks.
Mr. Constable, why did you become a constable?
Why? Because I wanted to serve Her Majesty, that's why.
And what about serving the people like us?
What? Your sort are the plague of London. Be quiet now.
Constable Marrow, Watson, I would like to perform another kind of reenactment with your help.
I'm listening, Mr. Holmes.
I want to check if Leighton's testimony can be trusted. If someone could vanish into thin air at a specific moment.
But Holmes, I don't see how.
I am going to be the mysterious gentleman whom Leighton followed. I will stand exactly where he saw him before he was blinded by the flash. Watson, you will be Leighton. When I fire the signal flare, you should start to chase me.
I understand, Holmes.
You, Constable Marrow, just play your part and do exactly as you did. Just, please, wait 5 seconds after the signal flare. I doubt that Polly Powell would have screamed any earlier.
As you say, Mr. Holmes.
Let us begin then. Catch me if you can. This wall is cast in shadow. It would be difficult to see anyone scaling it.
I can barely see anything. Holmes? Are you there?
I should try climbing faster.
I can barely see anything. Holmes? Are you there? Where is he? My God, a man can't just disappear like that. Holmes? Holmes? Where are you?
I cannot see you, Mr. Holmes. Dr. Watson, it seems that Mr. Holmes has disappeared.
Don't worry, gentlemen, I am up here, above your heads.
How on earth did you get up there, Holmes?
I am using crampons and a climbing axe, although the person we are looking for did not leave any traces of such tools. Constable, is there any way to get to the top of this building?
Yes, Mr. Holmes, I can show you. The door to the building can be found from Whitechapel Street.
Gentlemen, I am on my way down. These shards of glass are from the window above. Someone broke through the window to get inside the attic, but in his haste he ripped his jacket. It's empty. A cluster of thick black threads. They're unusually strong. I should examine them under the microscope. We can conclude that the person whom Leighton saw climbed up the wall, broke into the attic window, and escaped through the hatch. Let us take a closer look. It is not a thread, but a hair. I very much doubt that it is human. I need to compare this sample with a human hair and a horse hair. A shaving brush is usually made from horsehair. Watson, could you please pass me your shaving brush?
Here you are.
Watson, look, what's outside the window?
Where? I don't see anything. Ouch! Holmes!
Oh, don't make such a fuss. One little hair. Human hair is significantly thinner than the black sample. The horse hair is thinner than the hair that we found. So, this black hair belongs to an animal, and it is larger than a horse. A hair from a large and exotic animal.